Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of November 2025. We have a lot to get through this month. There are multiple transits happening every single week, so we are going to dive right in. As always, we are going to pull an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week. We will go over those meanings, discuss the astrological transits, and then clarify with more tarot and oracle. So let's see what Aquarius risings need to know for the month of November. I was about to split them like I do my tarot decks with three. Reveal what needs to be seen. This is a last quarter moon in Scorpio. So last quarter moons typically represent challenges, obstacles that we are having to overcome. And when it happens within a sign like Scorpio, this is usually some sort of shadow aspect, right? Or a need or desire for control. It is a fixed sign, just like you guys are. So there's a desire to maintain the status quo. So sometimes Scorpio really has a hard time letting go of control, but it's also really depth driven. It is the sign that is the psychological sign. It's like the shadow sign. It really likes to investigate to find out why things are the way they are. So it might be that this month, which is perfect for Scorpio season, we just entered Scorpio season. So this is a perfect time for you to really maybe do some of that shadow work, do some of that self-reflective type of work throughout the month of November. So let's see what the tarot has in store for you guys each week. Seven of Pentacles here in this first week. So the Seven of Pentacles represents kind of like tending to the garden, tending to the seeds that you've planted, really just kind of focusing in on those goals and the things that you really want to see come to fruition. This is the week that we have on the 4th Mars, the planet of action, desire, power, willpower, war, is moving into the sign of Sagittarius. Mars is probably going to be comfortable here because this is a fellow fire sign for you guys. Sagittarius sits in your 11th house. This is your house of the future. This is your house of hopes and dreams. This is your house of humanitarianism and even like friendship circles, right? Close network group, social networks, and like group activities. So this is typically, you might feel the urge and desire to explore, but with Mars being there, it's really going to give you a drive to really focus on your goals, focus on the things that you want to see come to fruition over probably the next 6 months. This is also the week on the 5th, we will be experiencing a full moon within the sign of Taurus. So full moons are a buildup of energy, and the light of the moon is typically illuminating things that we need to see. Taurus sits in your 4th house. This is your house of home. This is your house of domestic matters. This is your house of the mother, emotional stability and emotional safety. So with you guys, again, it feels like just maintaining that focus on really maintaining that focus on like financial stability is kind of what I'm getting, is kind of the feeling that I'm getting, really maintaining that focus on financial stability. This is also the week that Venus is going to move into Scorpio on the 6th. So Venus is the planet of love, money, beauty, value. And she is moving into the very, like I said, deep and intense sign of Scorpio. Now, this Scorpio sits in your 10th house. This is your house of career. This is your house of reputation and legacy, right? What do we want to leave behind, right? This is kind of the energy that Scorpio embodies for you. What do you want to leave behind? You may want to leave behind the image that you are self-reflective, that you are very intuitive, that you are, what's the word? I feel like there's a word that I want to say, but it's like escaping me. You could even be like, come across as very intense at work, maybe like a little introverted at work. And that's kind of just how people see you, but that's okay. Venus moving into your sign, you could see an uptick in just feeling maybe really, really good about yourself when it comes to your career. And like I said, your public reputation and how people see you. On the 8th, Uranus, your ruling or your co-ruling planet, the planet of disruption, chaos, revolution, and rebellion, is going retrograde, or it's going to be retrograding back in, or stationing retrograde, excuse me. Right now, it is currently sitting in the sign of Gemini. This is a transit that will last around 7 years. So I think maybe before this moves back into your home life, where we could see some internal revelations, maybe some internal shakeups when it comes to your home life, your private life, your domestic life. You're really being called to focus on your goals this month. Here in the second week, the Two of Cups. Very nice. So the Two of Cups can represent meeting a soulmate or meeting a person who is just ultimately your mind and your heart. Like both of you are kind of on the same wavelength or on the same frequency, on the same path, going in the same direction, so to speak. But this can also represent being in alignment, like your mind and your heart are both in alignment, really being in that trajectory of your choices and your actions and your thoughts and your beliefs, like they're all kind of aligning and you feel very in tune and in the flow of where you're going. This is the week that Mercury will station retrograde within the sign of, where is she at right now? Oh, in the sign of Sagittarius. So Mercury is going retrograde. Anytime Mercury goes retrograde, we see hiccups and things like that around things like communication, technology, day-to-day travel, just annoying things. Nothing that's going to end the world, fingers crossed, but just things that kind of, I keep losing my words. Things that are just ultimately kind of annoying at this point. I hate to say it. Somebody could be coming back from the past for you if you're looking for a relationship, or if you're in a position where you're wanting to step into a relationship. Mercury retrograde can bring people back from the past. Maybe that's what happens here. Who knows? Who knows? Jupiter will station retrograde within the sign of Cancer on the 11th. So on 11/11, Jupiter is going to station retrograde. Jupiter expands on anything that it touches. Jupiter in Cancer tends to amplify a need for emotional safety. It tends to amplify emotional attachments and can make things just maybe feel a little bit bigger than what they actually are. For you guys, Cancer sits in your 6th house. This is your day-to-day. So it could be that Jupiter going retrograde, you're having to really reevaluate how your day-to-day feels expansive, or any attachments that you feel like you've kind of accumulated with Jupiter being in Cancer. How maybe routines or being in the flow on your day-to-day, how is that expanded, and maybe going within and it's having to reevaluate things. Here in the 3rd week, the Queen of Swords in reverse. So when she's in reverse, she can be too reliant on other people's opinions versus making up her own mind. She has a tendency to people please. She could even be a little cold and calculating when she speaks. This is the week that we will experience a new moon within the sign of Scorpio. And this new moon in Scorpio is going to provide a new opportunity or a blank slate to set intentions around the Scorpio area of your chart. Again, this is your 10th house. So if you're having to make changes around your career, or if you're wanting to make changes around that, you may be a little too reliant on the opinions of other people. But instead, you can really lean into that Scorpio energy and take some time to yourself, lean into that Scorpio energy, and really try to discover the truth for yourself, right? Don't be indecisive. Really, when Scorpio knows the truth, it goes with it. There's no changing its mind, right? There's no changing its mind. There's no shifting direction. Once that gate is open, the gate is open and there's no going back. It's a very transformative type of energy. But with the Queen of Swords in reverse on this new moon, you could set intentions on maybe taking the time to do more of that self-reflective work, specifically around your career. Maybe set more boundaries when it comes to your career. If you're in a position where you tend to take on extra work, or maybe you volunteer to take on extra shifts when you shouldn't, if you feel overwhelmed at work, if people keep dogpiling things on you that are not your responsibility, this is a new moon that can allow you the opportunity to speak up for yourself, to advocate for yourself, to make up your own mind, and to ultimately set boundaries. Okay? This is when we will also step into Sagittarius season. Anytime we shift into a new season, themes and qualities of that sign will take center stage. And for that, this is going to be Sagittarius. So this is expansion through exploration, either through higher learning, learning about different cultures, long distance travel, spiritual development, things like that, spiritual or like religious development. Definitely doing that deep dive to do what it takes to expand your world in some way. Here in the last week, the Knight of Cups in reverse. So the Knight of Cups in reverse can represent that the energy feels stagnant. Like instead of taking action towards what brings you fulfillment, there's a lot of hesitancy is kind of what it feels like. And so therefore the energy is becoming very, very stagnant instead of flowing forward like it should. It can represent taking action from a very superficial place versus taking heart-led action, right? This can also represent maybe that somebody in our life is being a little duplicitous, like their pursuit of us is not from a heart-centered place. Again, it's from a very superficial type of place. And it can represent that like kind of like love bomber energy, like someone, if you're out in the dating world and you do meet somebody new, somebody does come back and you're struggling with boundaries with this person, struggling with communicating, this person can kind of be like a love bomber and just showering you with attention. And then when you shift gears and you try to give them attention back, they take it away, right? So we want to just be mindful about who we're taking advice from, and we want to be mindful about who we're spending our time with. This is the week that Mercury will station direct. Anytime Mercury stations direct, that period of review is over. And at this point, Mercury will retrograde back into the sign of Scorpio for a little bit. And then it will station retrograde in Scorpio again. So this is going to be your career. Again, maybe the energy feels stagnant. Maybe there's not a lot of creative energy. Maybe you're not feeling emotionally fulfilled, kind of bored. It feels very mundane, like the energy itself is very mundane and just monotonous. There's not a lot of fulfillment. There's not a lot of creative flow. There's not a lot of joy or excitement that's happening. But Mercury is going to station direct, and then it will actually give you an opportunity to shift gears in that aspect. We also have Saturn will station direct on the 28th. And it will be stationing direct within the sign of Pisces. And this is going to activate your second house, right? So this could be that you've been taking action more out of obligation versus, like I said, heart-led action, true heart-centered, heart-led action. but it really feels like the energy is just stagnant. Like the energy is just not going anywhere at all. On the 30th, Venus will move into the sign of Sagittarius. So again, the planet of love, money, beauty, abundance, or not abundance, but love, money, beauty, and value is moving into the sign of Sagittarius, which is your 11th house. Okay. So your second house, your fourth house, 10th house, and 11th house are all being activated this month. So look for shifts and changes around finances. Look for shifts and changes around kind of like what you're looking forward to in the future. Look for shifts and changes around your career or around your public reputation or how people see you, and even around your intimate life. So I think this month is why you're being guided to be very reflective, because the energy itself is trying to get you to be almost brutally honest with yourself. Brutally honest with yourself and be able to communicate that with other people if that is what you need to do. Let's see what clarifying energy can we get? Okay, I apologize for that. My microphone cut off. Let's see. So here in the first week, we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Empress in reverse, and the Seven of Wands. So when it comes to, I think, either with work or even with your home environment, like I said, your intimate life, your personal life, especially maybe within the home, you could be over nurturing and over just really taking care of others, right? This could be in regards to like financially being responsible for other people, or taking on a lot of responsibility at work, maybe responsibilities that aren't yours. But with the Empress in reverse, this is like over nurturing other people or doing too much, doing way too much. And I feel like with the Seven of Wands, this is about boundaries, like creating boundaries. So here with the full moon in Taurus, the week of the full moon in Taurus, Venus moving into Scorpio, it could be that there's a lot going on with work and even at home. And you're like, you know what? I need boundaries. Like, this is too much. I'm feeling overwhelmed. And really, I think the full moon in Taurus is trying to get you to go back to focusing on the things that you value. And here we've got two sevens. Sevens is about spiritual enlightenment, gaining spiritual wisdom, kind of going through that spiritual journey. And that could be what this time is trying to get you to understand, is to be like, why do I take on too much? Why do I feel like I am taking on all this responsibility? Why do I feel the need to take on all of this responsibility? Why do I consistently feel responsible for others? Maybe I just heard saving other people from themselves. So maybe that's what really needs to be seen when it comes to your home life and work life. There could be an imbalance here, but in order for you to regain that sense of balance is to really, I think, place boundaries here with the Seven of Wands. Like, she's sitting here, she's meditating, and she's got this like white bubble around her. This is kind of like energetic boundaries. I am learning that I need to put up energetic boundaries. And again, we've got two sevens with the Empress in reverse. I definitely think that this is a lesson that the universe, the divine, is trying to get you to understand, is that you cannot consistently save other people. You cannot consistently do things for them. They need to learn to be able to do things on their own. And so I think with the full moon in Taurus, I think you're being guided to focus on the things that you value, right? Focus on the seeds that you want to see grow over the next several months, and put in boundaries to all of the things that really aren't your responsibility. Here in the second week, again, the Two of Cups. Okay, the King of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Okay, so With this being a collective reading, this is the week that Mercury will go retrograde. And anytime Mercury goes retrograde, people do come back from the past. I don't normally say that, but with this energy here, somebody could come back from the past and you could see them as a soulmate. You could see this person as this King of Wands energy, somebody who leads by example, somebody who, their words and their actions align. You could kind of get the impression that that is who this is. And either you are not attracted to this person, or it feels like the connection might fizzle out. Like that spark isn't going anywhere, if that makes sense. Because with the Ace of Wands in reverse, it can represent a false start. So it feels like something is going to go somewhere, and then it just kind of, that fire just kind of dies out. So I feel like either when it comes to, for those of you who are watching this, if you are looking for romance, if you were in the dating world, you could meet somebody here with this second week. It feels like somebody that's going to come back, somebody that you've known before, whether that was a friend, whether it was a platonic relationship, or whether it was a previous romantic relationship. But this person is going to give the impression that they are who they say they are, that it's really true that they are who they say they are. And either you are not going to be ready to chase that spark down. You're like, you know what? I'm not really attracted to this person. I'm not interested. And so that fire just isn't there. That new beginning, that new spark isn't there. Or it's going to feel like it's that spark, that initial spark is going to be there, and then it's going to fizzle out, right? Here in this third week. So the Queen of Swords in reverse. And again, with the Queen of Swords in reverse, this is the new moon in Scorpio, right? And with this Scorpio, like Venus moving into Scorpio with the new moon in Scorpio, some of you could be meeting someone at work. Okay. And if you're not looking in, like, if you're not interested in romance, or you're already in a committed relationship, this could simply mean that you, when it comes to a specific area of your life, you are gaining clarity on what it means to have your mind and your heart be in alignment, right? You've come into an opportunity, or you've come into a space where you feel really connected. You feel like you understand who you are. You feel like you understand what you want, and you're ready to move in that direction. You're ready to step into this very leader-like role and be someone who leads by example. Like you are someone that not only talks the talk, but you also walk the walk, right? But the Ace of Wands can be like low energy, like just feeling exhausted. You could be very tired this week. Again, 2 energies stationing retrograde can definitely mean a sense of exhaustion. So if you are, like I said, if you're not looking for romance, I think this is more about you stepping into a leadership role within your life and really understanding and really feeling what it means to be in alignment, even when you're kind of tired, like you're just physically exhausted. But I know what it means now to really be in alignment. Here in this third week, the Queen of Swords in reverse, again, she can be very cold and calculating when she speaks. You know what I mean? That sword that she uses can be very cold, and it can cut like a knife. Words can cut like a knife. Or this is somebody who has a hard time maintaining boundaries, people pleasing a lot. So if this is you, this is the week of the new moon in Scorpio. Page of Swords. I definitely feel like this is probably an opportunity, or this is a fear or a hesitancy to speak your truth, to tell people either tell people the truth, not because you want to lie or manipulate, just because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Like the Queen of Swords, she's Libra energy. So she wants to maintain balance. She wants to maintain harmony, even if that means sacrificing your own needs, kind of burying your own truth for the sake of harmony with others. The Page of Swords, pages are messengers of the tarot. When the page is in reverse, it could be that there's a nervousness with communicating. There's a nervousness with communicating, or there's a miscommunication altogether. And the Seven of Pentacles. So again, if you are in the, you're in the dating world, you're looking for a moment, you meet somebody, it could be that there is a lack of communication. It could be that there's a lack of communication either on their part and you feel like you're wasting your time, or you're going to be kind of cold with your words, like very cold, kind of distant, not very open to communication. And you're like, I don't, because maybe you think the grass is greener on the other side. The Seven of Pentacles, when it's in reverse, can represent that, one, I've planted all these seeds and now nothing is coming to fruition. Nothing is happening the way I want. So I feel like I've wasted all this time tending to this garden that nothing is growing in. Or you're thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Like the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Somebody else's garden is greener than yours, right? So with the dating world, if you meet someone new, either your communication is very cold, it's very distant, and it can cause like communication. Like, I don't want to communicate. Again, the pages are messengers. I don't feel like communicating because I think that there's something better out there than this person. I'm waiting on something better, right? Or if you've met this person, it can be that they're not communicating a lot. They're not very forthright. You're overanalyzing their lack of communication. And you're like, I'm literally just wasting my time. I'm wasting my time with this person. Okay. For those of you who are not in the dating world, this can really, I think, be a lot. Again, we were talking about setting boundaries. The Queen of Swords, when she's in reverse, she has a hard time with boundaries. And that's a lesson that you need to learn. That's a lesson that you need to learn. It can put you on edge. It can cause you to overthink and overanalyze. And therefore, I think there needs to be a little bit more of maybe just patience, either with yourself or with others, when it comes to how you communicate. Again, this could be cold and calculating, very sharp with your words, and it causes miscommunication. So there's a need for more patience on your end. Again, this is with the new moon in Scorpio. This is hitting your 10th house. So this is your career. Maybe you're really cold and sharp with people at work, with coworkers. It could be that how people perceive you, right? Because this is public reputation or your social image. People see you as being very quick and sharp with your words, and it can cause a lot of miscommunication, right? So I would encourage you maybe to be more patient with other people. And maybe, because when the Queen of Swords, when she's direct, she is very compassionate, but she's clear and direct, right? She communicates clearly, she communicates directly, but she's also very emotionally intelligent. So she also communicates compassionately. Like, I understand that that is how you feel, but these are the facts. This, and this. She's very clear. She's very direct. She doesn't hesitate, but she also is very compassionate when she speaks. So we want to turn that energy around. We want to try and be patient. You want to try and be clear and direct, maintain boundaries, but also try to be compassionate when speaking with others here during the week of the new moon. Here in the fourth week, the Knight of Cups in reverse, the World, and the Ten of Cups in reverse. Okay. So again, for some of you who, now this is the week that Mercury is going to be stationing direct. This is also the week that Saturn is going to be stationing direct. Saturn again sits in the second house. So I feel like for those of you, again, if we were talking about the dating world, you've met someone, but the spark kind of dies out. You're waiting on communication. They're not communicating. You feel like you're wasting your time. The energy itself, you're like, there's no pursuit towards this fulfillment. There's no pursuit towards anything. And then you kind of got the world here, which kind of it represents a new beginning. It represents that a cycle is closing. And you're like, it's like you're coming into this new sense of awareness, maybe like this new sense of acceptance that whatever story was trying to unfold, it's not actually going to unfold. And you're actually okay with that, right? Being okay with that, with the world here. This kind of sense of acceptance, this kind of new sense of awareness, kind of like leveling up and really feeling more confident that this didn't work out the way you thought it might, and being okay with that. It's almost like stepping into this state of empowerment. Whereas before, if you had met someone and they didn't communicate, you'd wallow in it, obsess over it. And that's not, I don't think that that's what's happening here. You're kind of like, okay, that was on them. I was open. I was ready. They didn't want to. They're not right for me. And really stepping up and stepping into that place of, that's just not meant to be for me right now. Again, this is if somebody is not communicating with you. Again, with Mercury like being retrograde and it having the tendency to bring people back, I feel like this is giving some of you an opportunity for closure. Like if somebody has come back into your life and you're like, ooh, what if? What if things work out different this time? What if this person has changed? What if? I think you're going to discover that when Mercury goes retrograde, that you're really going to see that like, no, there is no what if. That ending, that relationship has ended. The spark is no longer there. There's a reason that I'm kind of cold and distant with this person. And it's because I don't want to pursue this anymore. I don't want to pursue this relationship anymore. I don't want to pursue this love anymore. And I'm okay with that. That happy ending with that person, that rainbows and butterflies with that person is not going to happen. And I'm good with that. Right? So that's if you're in the relationship arena. If you are not, and we're looking at more of a work sense, if we're looking at more of a home sense, placing those boundaries, maybe being more patient with other people and how you speak to them. The Knight of Cups, this energy it's felt very stagnant. Maybe you feel like all the actions, like I said earlier, the actions you've been taking feel very mundane and very monotonous. But it's almost like you're coming into this sense of awareness still, with the World card being direct. And that could be that this is everything that's occurring, realizing you're doing too much, you're taking on too much responsibility, working through that, kind of aligning your mind and your heart, being that leader with the King of Wands, stepping up and realizing I need to be more patient with how I speak to people. And even though like you feel like the energy again feels monotonous and day to day, you've gained so much awareness about you. You have revealed what needs to be seen as far as you go. And now you're kind of leveling up in your personal growth, which is really, really lovely. Let's see what the Oracle has to say. Making sure the microphone was still on. Begin to explore. Really begin to explore doing that deep work. And I mean, with it being Scorpio energy, it's Scorpio season, a new moon in Scorpio, Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio. I think this is giving you an opportunity, either with your career or, like I said, with people in your life, whether that is with your home or co-workers. Again, what I said, like, I can't save them from themselves. I have to let people learn their own lessons, yada, yada, yada. Really begin to explore, why do I want to save this person? Why do I feel like I have to step in? Why do I feel like I have to nurture this person or nurture these people? Why do I feel like I have to do that? And how can I create more boundaries? I think that's really what's happening here in this first week. The full moon in Taurus is giving you that opportunity to really expand. And even Mars in Sagittarius, like I said, Sagittarius is all about expansion through exploration, whether that is soul expansion through exploring the external world, or whether that is soul expansion by self exploration. Regardless of how you choose to look at it or how it plays out for you, you're being guided to really begin to explore different options and maybe really begin to stretch your own capability for growth. Reassess. If you feel like you meet someone and you're like, maybe this is a soulmate. Maybe this is somebody, they come across as this person, very strong, very convicted, very, very true to their word. You might need to reassess it, especially if it goes nowhere. That spark, there's a reason that the Ace of Wands is in reverse. That initial spark is either not a genuine one, or you're not as into it as you think you are. Raise your vibration. A lot of overthinking. Because the Queen of Swords, like I said, a lot of overthinking, very distant, very kind of cold. The Page of Swords in reverse, miscommunication, being nervous to talk about things, nervous to communicate. And it could be, again, with the love arena, the reason you're being so cold, the reason that you're like, I don't want to communicate, and maybe you are nervous communicating, that you just feel like this would be a waste of time, right? I really do feel like if you're going the route of the relationship, either you're not interested and you really need to accept that you're not interested and stop worrying about whether or not you're going to hurt their feelings and just tell them the truth, or they're not going to be interested. And if that's the case, if they are lax on their communication, you need to heed that. You need to accept that and be like, that's not what I deserve. I'm not going to tolerate that. And put in those boundaries. Really put in those boundaries with that person. But here in this third week, you're being guided to raise that vibration. Don't overthink it. Just do what needs to be done. Here in this last week, engage higher reason. Here with the tap into that higher consciousness. You know it needs to be done. Again, whether that is with your job, career, Scorpio energy, or whether that is with a potential love connection, you know it needs to be done. Here, that 10 of Cups, like it's not, that connection is not going to be as fulfilling as what it appears to be. You know that. You feel it in your heart. You know it in your bones. Engage that higher reason and do what needs to be done. This is really incredible. I know it probably doesn't feel like it, but I feel like this is a huge opportunity this month for growth. There's a huge opportunity for you guys to really step into. It feels like this state of empowerment, this state of alignment with who it is that you're wanting to become. And you're really getting that opportunity. And so far, it looks like you're going to take it. You're really going to understand that opportunity and you're going to take it, which is an incredible thing. So I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.